Oh, good morning, everybody, and Merry Christmas. I'll be muting myself a lot during this show, like I had to do yesterday, because I've got this little cold going on. It's more annoying than anything. So, what is going on? What's the haps? Might as well just say it's Christmas. Look at Bonafide. Multitasking. She's got Crime Lines and Lies on stereo on her TV. She said, I can listen and bake. A lot of people took today off to get their finishing touches done. On my Facebook page, I put something up yesterday and I asked, why are some people, and I mean, there's obvious reasons, just so against celebrating Christmas. Well, CR's not. CR's not. She just gifted 5 Crime Lines and Lies memberships. 'Tis the season. Thank you, CR. Thank you. And it's not so much if you just don't want to celebrate the holiday, whether it's your religion, it's just a hard time for you or whatever. But I've been seeing all these comments, posts of people saying, watch sharing your Christmas candy, watch sharing your trees and your presents. It might put someone into a deeper depression. I'm like, what? Let me tell you, Mother's Day, I am a hot mess. I am. Because, well, I lost my mother. But that doesn't mean I'm going to give people lectures all over the internet and say, I don't want to hear anything about you taking your mom to lunch. Haven't you thought about people that don't have a mom? What the hell is wrong with this world? That's crazy. Tell you what, on one hand, social media has been a blessing for different reasons. And then on the other hand, it's like, damn, are you that easily triggered? You don't want to put up a tree? Don't put up a tree. You'd rather have Chinese food than prime rib? It's your day off. It's your day off. Let's thank our friend CR for gifting memberships. Listen to me, already bitching. I just got here. My goodness. And look at that round of applause for our friend Mama Bear. She said, I made it on time for once. Girlfriend, there's always the replay. We don't take attendance around here, but we miss you when you're not here. We miss you when you're not here for sure. So we have quite a few things to go through today. We might have a special treat here at the end, depending on how our special guest is feeling. Speaking of, we were supposed to have a special guest on today. And well, the flu came knocking on his door. Both him and his wife had it. And it's not flu-like symptoms. They got the flu. They got the flu. And if anybody's ever had the actual flu, not, I just feel like I have the flu, you know the difference. You want to die to feel better. That is the worst. You never want the flu. Woo! Mama Bear says, you sound better today, Brooks. Yeah, I do. Thank goodness. I kind of had that kind of sexy Demi Moore thing going on yesterday. You know how her voice is a little deeper, you know? JM said, not the flu. We don't want the flu. But we do want to tell everyone, good morning. Say hi to your neighbor. Teddy Burr said flu, stomach bugs, and other bugs are floating all around right now here in Florida. I've been hearing so much about this. Does anyone think it might just be kind of, besides the weather being up and down and up and down? I mean, you're in shorts one day, the next day you're bundled up. So besides that, you know, the leaves have been falling, so we got some different allergies in the air. Do you think it's just the absolute stress of the holiday? For some people, you know, there's a lot of stuff you want to get done for Monday. You know, that could be it too. Muscles and Mascara, talk about someone under stress. This chick has been working her tail end off. I have a feeling when it gets to be Christmas morning and she's got a day off, she won't be able to wake up to watch her son open presents. That girl's ass is dragging a mile behind her. And not because she's got a big ass, but because she is tired. Prissy Missy said, tardy, I have a note from my dog. Can you have your dog write OJ a note? Let me show you what's been going on. As I told you guys, there's this new channel where OJ watches live squirrels and birdies. Well, this squirrel is on I guess it's a squirrel feeder. It looks like a bird feeder to me. So as you can see, I moved the nativity scene because he kept knocking baby Jesus off. Well, this is a no-no. You see, he's jumping up on there and he's got his paws on the TV, trying to get the squirrel, as if the TV is a window. So we have paw marks all over the TV, and it kind of started shaking, even though it's attached and everything. Don't think he can't knock it down. So I had to squirt him with the squirt bottle. He got mad. He doesn't like that. So during the show, I have to make sure, hang on. I have to make sure not to have that on because we have to supervise him watching the bird and squirrel cam. Because if he knocks that TV down and DT Driver, who's getting home today, has to go buy a new TV when he's already not in the mood for the holidays, I'm afraid either me or OJ will be looking for a new home. So have your dog write me a note, please. Thank you. And backstage, we have our friend Trevor. Let's have a big round of applause for Trevor. Good morning and Merry Christmas, Trevor.
Good morning, Merry Christmas. How are we doing?
Good. I want to give a special shout out to our friend Hey Jude. What an amazing artist she is.
Wow, that's beautiful.
At this drawing she did of Summer. She's working on one for little Michael Vaughn, too. This is real talent. Now, mine would be a stick figure. That's it, with some blue eyes.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That is absolutely amazing. You know, and the thing is, Kamari said, I got chills looking at that drawing. Me too. I'm going to put that comment up. It's a gorgeous, I mean, I had tears in my eyes. And I asked her, because I always ask, as you guys know, I say, can I share this? Unless it's public. I mean, if it's public, it's public. And she said, yeah, absolutely. Just Me said, the crooked grin is perfect. Muscles and Mascara said, I just teared up. Great work, Hey Jude. She's not in here right now, but she hopefully will catch it on the replay because I want her to see the comments at how amazing her work is. I mean, that is some talent. Some talent. We have a lot of very talented people around here, do we not, Trev?
Absolutely.
I mean, hell, just seeing your trees alone blew me away. Made my Amazon order look like shit, seeing how you guys decorate. So great job to Jude. And we have some comments to go through. Do you have time, Trev?
Let's do it.
Okay, our friend Peas in a Pod, who also is captain of our CLL coin pusher team. She is the captain. Anybody that wants to be on the coin pusher team will have to get a hold of Peas in a Pod. Hang on, someone just said, am I blocked here? Shannon Pisces 77. No, girl, I see you. I see RJ. We see you. No, you got it. I'll tell you what, you have to do a lot, and I mean a lot, to get blocked around here. You either have to be in Pat's robe pocket when she goes outside, or you have to really push the envelope. But glad you brought that up. Sometimes things happen and mistakes are made. Someone, it happens and we take care of it, but no, you are not blocked at all. Okay, so Peas in a Pod, again, she is captain of the coin pusher team. She's trying to make it an Olympic sport. Candace has inspired her greatly. If you would like to be on the coin pusher team, I'll put something on the members tab. She'll tell you about the uniform, the beverage that you have to have, how many quarters you should take with you to coin pusher. Some people still ask, what is coin pusher? Well, here's a video right here.
Pusher, a $2 start. Hold that skill stop button. We're going to do $1 on this side and $1 on this side. Let's see if we make back more than $2. Oh, come on. Good push. Oh, that was, wait, second wave. All right, let's see what we got back. $1.25. Okay.
Yes, so it is a technical sport. As we know, instead of looking for summer wells, Candace will spend hour upon hour playing coin pusher, probably with money that's been raised on YouTube, but I don't know. What do you think, Trev?
I have not participated in the game of coin pusher.
Okay, well, it seems to be pretty popular with Candace, so we can head you in the right direction. And Angel P, thank you for the Crime Lines and Lies memberships. It is raining. 'Tis the season. Make sure you have your allow gifts on, so when someone gifts a membership, you're able to get it. I see Shannon Pisces just got one. Linda Listen said, I'm too frugal for coin pusher. I'm telling you. Well, anyway, captain of the coin pusher team left this comment. Now, this is after our show on Monday where we spoke a little bit about Cam and Allie and the situation that they're in. Tongue in cheek, because couldn't imagine. She says, so many people who get close to the wells suffer bad health issues, increased addiction, and much worse. This is why no one should ever get close to potential suspects in any case. How are others so ignorant to what keeps happening to friends, in quotes, of the wells? I'm so glad she left that comment because I know some people were saying, this has nothing to do with Summer Wells. You shouldn't be talking about Cam and Allie. Look, Dawn and Can't are a bad omen. Their own children, their friends. And it just seems that like anyone that gets wrapped up real tight with them gets used, abused, and tossed away. Right, Trev?
Seems so. But I think also Cam and Allie issues, unfortunately, seem to have been building up. Unfortunately, now it seems to have hit a peak. So
Pikes Peak. Oh, it's hit a peak. Pikes Peak. Coming down Pikes Peak, they sell you, they've got people at the bottom that's going to sell you new brake pads. Cam and Allie need new brake pads. So do a lot of other people that have been entangled with the Wells. Thomas Randall, who, by the way, has a lot of cooking to do this weekend because he is feeding a group of 10 for Christmas. Woo! You got a lot going on, Thomas. But Thomas took time to leave a comment. He said, Brooks, Don said when he got home, there was 2 police cars there. But in the interview with Chris, he said he flew home and beat all the cops there. But Don, you don't lie. It's not in me to lie. That's your words, not mine. We say that a lot on this channel. We say, that's their words, not mine. I'm not putting words in their mouth. But right there, again, the title of the show is Dreams and Inconsistencies. And here's a major one. Were there 2 police cars there when you got home, Don? Or did you beat them home? What do you think, Trev?
I'm sure there was maybe 1 or 2. I mean, I don't know. It's a decent ways from where he was. So I would imagine that somebody was there. I'm sure the whole response hadn't arrived yet, but I'm sure someone was there.
Yeah. So were there 2 cars there or no cars? These are Don's words. I would call this an inconsistency. An inconsistency. Baby Kisses for Me said, Hunter talked to the FBI more than the parents have. Ridiculous. Yes, this is from the clip where McDonough was talking about his interview live from the porch with Mountain Dew and coffee cups and Domino's Pizza. If you don't remember that interview, I will give you just a little snippet of it.
Ones was she watching?
She was just watching.
Sandra!
If I can remember it, not.
Sandra! So he said that there was a lot from that interview he did not want to release because Hunter had already spoken with the FBI 3 times up to his interview. I wonder how many times Drywell Dawn and Can't have talked to the FBI. What do you think, Trev?
Yeah, well, by the clip that Josh put out last night with Don talking about it, sounds like Don talked to the FBI, just didn't get anywhere. He said, sounds like he was being brushed off. So I think it also has to do with what you're giving them.
100%. And I missed Josh's show last night. I've got to catch up today. I go to bed early. Kind of like, Sandra! Okay, Michael Knapp said, Brooks, you don't like Don Wells, do you? Guilty as charged. I think he's a horrible human being. Not because his daughter is missing, but because of his attitude towards her being missing and how he treats people. He said, I imagine you feel similar about Candace. Guilty again. Perhaps you are just upset about Summer's disappearance, as we all are. Yes, I am. It is true that Dawn and Candace are both the primary suspects. If these 2 are complicit, I wonder why more evidence has not surfaced, especially with all the skilled and extensive investigation that has been done in this case. It's not easy to fool the FBI. I love this comment. We have heard so many people. This is a great comment by Michael. It's not easy to fool the FBI. It's not. Do we know that the FBI and TBI have been fooled, though? In one of the very, very, very early press conferences, they said this is a case outside of the norm and we will not be releasing any information. Now, not too far away from Ben Hill Hell, put this up, hang on. Last year, child's remains were found. What is the name of this county in Virginia?
Carroll County.
Carroll County. Okay, sorry. I almost said Cook County, and I'm like, yeah, not like that's in Illinois. I'm sure there's other Cook counties, but you know. Turns out that this little boy, Logan Bowman, has been missing since 2003. This has been an open and active investigation for 20 years. His remains were found last year, and this revelation that's coming out between you, me, and the gatepost is going to make a lot of people mad. I'm going to tell you why. Oh, that doesn't make me mad. Pat K, thank you so much for the super sticker. Love you, girlfriend. Dang, Pat K, thank you. Me love you long time. I'm going to go get our sleeping bag made for two for CrimeCon. All right, this has been an open and active investigation for 20 years. Now, Logan's mom, her name is Cynthia Davis, and her boyfriend, Dennis Schermerhorn, they were charged in connection to his disappearance in 2003. I've got to look more at it. I don't know if they were convicted, they served any prison time, or it's just still hanging out there. So when they found his remains, I know a lot of people said, well, they'll never be identified because his remains have been there for too long. No. Forensic science has their way. A lot of people said that has to be summer. Well, I didn't really want it to be summer, you know. But anyway, we do know now whose remains they are. Now, again, his mother, Cynthia, and her boyfriend, Dennis, people that know them say, well, if there was any evidence, then they would charge him with murder, or they would do this, they would do that. Sometimes these things take a long time. Hell, it took over a year to figure out who he is. But they have said with confidence that there will be more charges. Any thoughts on that, Trev?
Yeah, and the mother has already been indicted on homicide. After this video, I've got the information about the disappearance if you want that as well.
You bet. Hit me with it. Let's go through this clip, and then I'm going to read the news article. Then I'm going to let you talk.
Just into the newsroom, a break in a missing persons case from more than 20 years ago. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office says the remains of Logan Bowman have been found. He was 5 years old when he went missing in 2003. Investigators say his remains were discovered last year in a wooded area in Galax. His mother and her boyfriend at the time were charged in the connection of his disappearance. And now the sheriff's office says more charges will likely be filed. Now, we will continue to follow the latest on the story, and for updates, just look on air and online.
Now, the terrain in Carroll County, correct me if I'm wrong, is similar to that of Hawkins County. Did I read that correctly? Trev is muted.
Yes, I believe so. I've never been that far up into Virginia, but
5 years old, and obviously mom and boyfriend knew where to hide him. Here's the article. And the police never stopped investigating. They have to have the right evidence, and well, Now they have it because they have Logan. On September 6, 2022, the Carroll County Sheriff's Office responded to the area of Iron Ridge Road in Galix for reported human remains found in a wooded area. Throughout the investigation, it was determined that the remains had been in that area for a long time. That's what I read originally. The Sheriff's Office received help from Othram Incorporated, a private, hang on, LM Sparks, I did not mean to time you out. I just unhid you. OJ's trying to help. You didn't do anything wrong, LM. I'm all over the place today. It must be that cold medicine. Okay, the Sheriff's Office received help from Othram Incorporated, a private company based in Texas specializing in forensic grade genome sequencing and forensic genetic genealogy. Othram Incorporated was able to develop a full DNA panel, which allowed them to use forensic genetic genealogy and to direct DNA comparisons of family members to identify the remains as Logan Nathaniel Bowman. They have been working on this. Let's talk about an inconsistency. Since September 6th, 2022, they give a list of all the agencies, companies that worked on determining this profile. Now, a few months ago, Don said that they wanted his DNA and Cant's DNA due to these remains that were found September 6, 2022. Do you honestly think they're going to wait over a year to ask for a DNA match when they've already been working on this? Does that make any sense? We know law enforcement moves slow sometimes, but not that slow. Bowman was a 5-year-old child who went missing in Grayson County in January 2003. His biological mother, Cynthia Davis, and her then-boyfriend, Dennis Schermerhorn, were charged in 2003 in connection to his disappearance. The Sheriff's Office said this is still an ongoing investigation and new charges are anticipated. But you're saying that there is a homicide charge, right?
Yes.
Okay. And this is a list of all the agencies that were involved. Othram Incorporated, Grayson County Sheriff's Office, Virginia State Police, Galix Police Department, Virginia Medical Examiner's Office, NEMEC, Team Adam, National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. If you look into this, it is insane what they do at the National Missing and Unidentified Persons System. They use a lot of, that DNA 123 Ancestry.com to identify remains pretty fast. NAMUS, United States Secret Service, Virginia Probation and Parole, U.S. Customs and Border Protection. So seems to me that they dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. 20 years is a very, very long time, but they were on it. Now, Trev, let me ask you this. Do you think a year after little Logan's remains were found and all of these, you see the list, do you think they really just out of the blue called old Donnie Boy up and said, we're going to need your DNA and Cant's when they already had it in the system anyway?
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't know what point of the investigation they were at. With this, it was so tricky because they had to go find family members to then identify off of and basically find family members that match the DNA that match it back to the little boy. So, I mean, if they were just trying to check people off, then maybe so, because it'd be easier to check since they knew family of Summer. It was easy to find them. You just, they know who they are and they can get through them. They can get through to them through law enforcement since they're part of a case. So maybe, I don't know. I know that this was a strenuous process because of how long the remains have been there. And I know it kind of shines light on the PMI, the postmortem index or whatever, where it says how long they think they've been there. that shows that can be wrong, because they estimated this kid was there for 4 to 7 years, and he's been there basically my entire life.
Yeah. They said a very long time. I don't know if he's been moved or he's been there for the whole 20 years. I would think one of the first things that they would have found out from the DNA is whether they were dealing with a male or female child. Dawn and Candace have a missing female child, but I'm not the scientist. I just thought it was pretty peculiar that someone brought these remains, horrible, up in another chat, and then the wheels got turning. Next thing you know, Dawn's like, yeah, they want our DNA for that. I'm like, really? Just like that? Huh. This is not far from you. Were you not freaking out that a child's remains were found not too far from you? And all you can say is, yeah, they want our DNA for that. How come when remains are found, and they don't always tell you if it's for a child or an adult, male, whatever, they don't. How come they aren't ever coming out of their skin wanting to know, could this be our daughter? Anyone have any thoughts on that? We have Trev in the hot seat.
I mean, I don't know. That's not the way I would respond, but there's a lot of things that they've said that I wouldn't say. But I do wonder. I don't know if they took the DNA or not. I had people close to it that I talked to throughout the identification process, and I know they took Summers. I was told they had Summers' case file, so I believe that they at least looked into if it was her. If that correlates with them taking the DNA, I don't know. But I know they took her case file and actually, determined if it was her or not. Since even though the PMI was long, you can see it's not always accurate, because he's likely been deceased for 2 decades, and
Yeah.
even if he had been moved, he's been deceased for 2 decades. So that obviously that postmortem index was off by quite a bit. So I mean, minimum of 13 years off. So maybe they did check that way. I don't know.
Now, what else do you know about this case, about Logan?
Well, I've got I did some, once he was identified, did some research on his disappearance, and I've got the details of his disappearance and then the lead up to charges being placed, if you want me to read those off.
Please.
Okay, so Logan was reported last seen at his home on January 7th, 2003, but his mother did not report him missing until January 23rd, over 2 weeks after he disappeared. And she couldn't explain why she waited so long. And so then a month later, after he had gone missing, Cynthia Davis, his mom, was charged with child endangerment. Now, Logan was scalded on his legs, feet, groin, and buttocks before his disappearance, and his mom never took him to see a doctor. Her boyfriend, Danny, was also charged in connection with the case. Authorities stated that he gave conflicting statements about Logan's disappearance. Teachers at his school say they noticed bruises on his body in December. They did not report this until after he disappeared. Logan's father last saw his son at Christmas in 2002, so just 2-3 weeks before he had gone missing, but almost a month before they reported him missing. He had weekend visitation rights, but mom and the boyfriend would not permit him to see Logan after Christmas, saying he was sick, and Logan's father is not considered a suspect in the disappearance. So the mom and the boyfriend only reported Logan missing after his father threatened to call the police himself. In April 2003, the mom and the boyfriend were indicted on 2 counts each of child neglect. The first count relates to their failure to seek medical attention for Logan's burns. The second for failure to report him missing for 2 weeks. In July of that year, they were charged additionally with felony murder. Davis pleaded guilty to the charges and was sentenced to 15 years in prison and 20 years of probation. She testified against her boyfriend. She claimed that Logan was severely scalded in the bathtub on or about January 7th, and she wanted to take him to a hospital, but the boyfriend told her to calm herself first. She fell asleep, and when she woke up, Logan was gone. The boyfriend told her he had taken the child to his mother, who was a nurse, and the mom says she never saw her son again. Her boyfriend said it was her who left Logan and later returned without him. He stated he believed she had sold the child. In May 2004, a judge dismissed the murder charge and one of the child neglect charges on the boyfriend, citing lack of evidence. Prosecutors were counting on the evidence to convict him, but her testimony was self-serving and inconsistent. She said she has told 5 different stories about the events of January 7th, and on the witness stand, she said she thought Logan might still be alive. The boyfriend was convicted of 1 count of child neglect and sentenced to a year in jail. And it said, I mean, of course, this is prior to him being found, but it says Logan's body had never been found, and foul play is suspected in his disappearance due to the circumstances involved.
Listen up. Listen up. I'm not saying that the cases are connected or we even need to do a case comparison. However, these things take a long time. Watch Dawn and Candace's actions, responses, and replies, as opposed to the creator that's saying they didn't do anything. Creators. Because the truth will come out. One way or another. The truth will come out. And for 20 years, multiple agencies have been working on the case of Logan. And well, the final piece was Logan. And we have said many times on this show, even though we know that they can prosecute without a body, if they don't have enough circumstantial evidence to prove that a murder occurred, well, then that dog's not going to hunt. It does make me wonder, since they jumped so fast to get them on child endangerment and being connected to the disappearance, why Dawn and Can't are planning their Christmas meal. But I think I beat that dead horse enough. It does make me wonder. Has anybody been following this channel, Ryan Finds Truth? I'm always the last to know. But I guess he's wanting to search the Wells property. And Can't's not having it. Do you know anything about all this, Trev?
I've spoken to Ryan some. He's been hiking he's from this area, and he's hiked all around, and he came across Summer's case and wanted to kind of incorporate his hikes into searches.
Good for him, because that seems like that's how little Logan was found. That's how Breja Terrell was found. It was someone out hiking, fishing, and they come across something that they can't unsee. Well, Can't's not having it. So this was her comment. There's Can't. She said, Ryan is a PG without the cussing. He can stay away from me and my family. What family? You, Don, and Grandis? What family? You let Benny up there. You let Cam and Allie up there. You couldn't wait to get Earn the Burn alone. But you're not going to let this man look around? She went on further to say, it's been searched thousands of times. Call me ignorant, but what's the problem with a fresh set of eyes? As seasons change, so does the ground. Come on. Would you let someone come up and search? Let me ask the chat. So she lets all these other people up. Matter of fact, we were blessed with her saying Cam was snoring. She meant snorting pills. And she told him to leave. She didn't want that anywhere around her. But she's going to tell this guy, oh, you stay away from me and my family, even though you've done nothing wrong. And as we know, I'm going to show you a little clip of it. She couldn't wait to get Ernie up there. She was going to cook him spaghetti. Woo! She had a date planned.
But yeah, it's
Ernie.
Is that Ernie?
Yeah, that's Ernie.
Yeah, that's Ernie.
Okay, come up, Ernie, if you want
Yeah,
to.
he needs to come up and say hi, the old stranger.
Get up here, Ernie.
Everybody's saying that you ditched me the other day when you come up here, which I know Ernie's in and out all the time. So Ernie don't want to.
Yeah, he ditches everybody.
Yeah,
He does.
Been trying to call him for weeks. He freaking won't even answer his phone.
I know. Ernie's just Ernie.
Unless he wants to be mean to me. Then he'll send me a message. Oh,
But yeah, I mean, he's more than welcome. Don B, if you want to come up here and you got things to say, well, you need to come up here and apologize to Candace. This is your chance to make things right. There's Ernie on.
I'd like to
Hey,
talk
Ernie.
about
Hey,
Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing?
pretty good. How
Well,
are you?
do you remember me, Ernie?
I do remember you.
Okay.
We got
his-
Candace Lips up here.
okay.
Hey, stranger.
How you doing?
I'm
She's
doing
doing
all
great.
right. How you doing?
Oh my
She's
God,
doing
is that
great.
Candace?
She's doing great. She's
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
great.
Well, Candace, you looking pretty good today.
I'm
Every
trying
day.
my best.
Her
That's
hair's
good.
all long and stuff.
She's doing good, Ernie. She's doing real
Looks
good.
like you straight and dried up and got
Oh,
your
yeah.
headphones set on. Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's
Well,
living,
that's good.
living the good life.
I
Well,
love
that's
you,
good.
Jinky.
That's her new
Hey.
nickname, Can.
Tin
Well,
Tin.
what's
That's
today's
what we call
conversation
men
about,
here,
y'all?
Tin. We don't
Don
call
Oh.
it
B's
tin.
making
Don B and his bull crap.
Okay, I don't want to hear anything about Don B. Flirting 101. She had to turn that camera on. Yo, stranger. Oh, you got straightened right up. Got your headset on. Look, her hair's growing. Don't worry about the fact she has no teeth in her head, but her hair is growing. Doesn't everyone's hair grow? Some faster than others. Do you get haircuts, Trev?
I do. I definitely get haircuts.
Have you ever been complimented on needing a haircut? Or is it just like a natural thing, our hair grows?
Yeah, my hair grows a little too fast to be okay if it slowed down just a tad.
Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you so much. Aggie sent me this clip. Hold on. There's been a lot of talk about Fred and Andy. Very interesting, and we talked about it on the show once, twice, 500 times, who knows. Don said that if anyone's been cleared, it is Andy. Now, this was when he was getting so mad about people saying Tim is probably a suspect. He doesn't want to hear about Tim or Andy. I don't know why. Not my crew. He said if anyone's been cleared, it would be Andy because he was at work all day and they have his, in quotes, work records. I'm sure he means time cards. I don't know what kind of work he does. I'm not calling the former boss, not going to. But it seems like this is what really has pissed a few people off. I don't hear anything wrong in it, but maybe you can point me in the right direction.
Hey everyone, I'm going to jump right into it here. This is a quick update on what I've been working on. Ever since Jen and I identified one of the Bernard family's old properties as an area we would like to get access to explore, I've been working on making sure that Andy is someone that it's safe to meet with and get access to these properties. As part of that work, I first started talking with Andy Bernard and reviewed a lot of the same topics that all of you saw him talk about in previous YouTube panels, different videos. He repeated the same answers to me before I finally asked the question I really wanted to ask, and that was if he knew why his parents had sold the property only 3 months after Summerwell's disappearance. Andy said that his parents sold the land because Andy needed money to restart his life after following his breakup during that time. So that explains why the land was sold.
And we know all about the breakup. We've heard all about Baltimore, coleslaw. We've heard all that. We've heard about getting no sex on Shark Week. We know all about the breakup, okay?
Unfortunately.
Parents. So my next step was to try and check that Andrew actually has an alibi during the critical time in question from 3 p.m. through 6:30 or 7. A number of YouTubers have stated in the past that Andrew has been seen on security cameras at work, but as far as I could tell, no one could confirm the exact specific times he was seen on camera. I don't think anyone out there has yet confirmed without a doubt that he was at work for the entire day. So today I went down to Hayworth Tire and Auto Service over in Kingsport, Tennessee, and spoke.
Okay, before he gets into that about when he goes and speaks to the boss. Christina said, I missed the shark wheat deets.
Didn't miss anything.
Oh, I've got them. You ought to see these text messages between Jody Sue and Coleslaw. Or Baltimore. Or now she just says her monster. Thank you, Webweaver68. Welcome to the family. Whoever was gifted the Crime Lines and Lies membership, thank you. I want to read this. I think our friend Katarina put this up. Okay, so he mentions a timeline of 3 o'clock to 6:30 or 7. That I would like to have that time filled in myself because their allotment of time and what they had going on from after dropping off Hunter doesn't make sense. Katarina put a post up. She said, Candace comes home with Summer and Grandis around 3 to 3:30ish. Dawn supposedly took a break for lunch around 3ish. Jenna, Candace's former friend, said Dawn was at home around 3ish that day because she had a text from Candace saying that he got home at 3. She also told another channel, I don't even think they have a channel anymore, that she's not sure where Dawn was that day. She doesn't keep up with Dawn. She only keeps up with her kidses. Okay, 3 to 3:30. Fred said he saw Andy drive in behind 2 other cars. Laura said it was around 3 to 4ish that her and Fred headed over to the scrap metal yard. So what else happened, let's say between 3 and 4? I think we need to look into that more. A lot of people saw a lot of things between 3 and 4. Candace texted Jenna that Dawn was home. Now, the car that Fred is describing is a pretty common car, but I just don't know the odds of 2 of the exact same vehicles. Well, I don't mean exact same vehicles. A vehicle that looks like Andy being on the road, but I don't know. Fred is saying that Andy was on the road, but his employer is saying he was at work all day. Do you have any thoughts on this, Trev?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've heard from very early on that that law enforcement cleared his whereabouts that day. I wish they would come out and clear anybody's whereabouts that have been that are close or would be suspected, because I feel like they could do that. I don't think that they're at a point where everybody is still on the table, but I don't know. Like somebody like Andy, if he was at work all day, I feel like they can come out and clear him, and that takes someone off the board. Then you're not getting tips about Andy, which you know you don't need if he was at work all day.
Right. If he was at work all day. Dawn, not that we can really hitch our cart to anything Dawn says, he said if anyone is cleared, he didn't mention can't. He has said quite the opposite about can't. He said if anyone is cleared, it would be Andy because he was at work and the TBI went to his work, so they know he was at work. Now, those details actually make sense to me, but I have been fooled many times in this case.
Spoke to Brian Hayworth, the owner. It was pretty busy there today, which appears to be pretty much standard for how the workday goes there. So I waited there until closing to talk with Brian. I spoke with Brian for about 30 to 40 minutes and asked him if he recalled whether or not Andrew was at work on that day on June 15th, 2021. He said Andy arrived late that day, which was typical for him, and that Andy was there all day and finished up until closing time around 6 p.m. He said sometimes after work, Andrew would even sit in his car for a while using his phone, so it's possible he may have actually left later than 6 p.m. He confirmed that he remembered all of this because it's exactly what he told the police when they asked him in 2021. He also said that he provided the security camera footage to them as well. I asked Brian if Andy could have slipped away at any point during the day to go to Ben Hill and then return back at work later. He said he or his son would have noticed that, and if he had driven the 26 minutes or so home and back, he would have been gone for a minimum of an hour, and that certainly would have been noticed. I believe Brian Hayworth is about as reliable a source as you could ask for on this matter. So I do believe that Andy has an alibi of being at work all day until at least after 6 p.m. on June 15th. The only way Andrew Bernard could have had any involvement in this disappearance is if he was able to pull something off after returning from work around 6:30 p.m. at the earliest. After speaking with Brian, I realized there was still a loose end. There is still a statement made by Fred Hill that he saw Andrew on Ben Hill Road that day around 3:15 p.m. I wanted to give Fred a chance to respond to this new information and possibly change the day that he could have seen Andy on that road. So I reached out to Ziggy to see if there's any way we could possibly speak to Fred again. Ziggy was able to get Fred to call me tonight, and I spoke to Fred on the phone. When I told Fred that I had confirmed Andrew has an alibi, being at work all day until 6 p.m., Fred insisted that he had seen Andy on Ben Hill Road that day. He also stated that law enforcement had shown him trail cam footage showing Andy on Ben Hill Road that day, as well as trail cam footage showing other people, including Candace. When I asked him why law enforcement would show him those photos, he said it was because they were asking him to confirm to them who the people in the photos were. So those are the current facts as I know them. Anyone can ask Brian Hayworth to confirm. I didn't want to record the conversation because conversations go a lot better with people around here if you aren't shoving a camera in their face. I also asked him if any reporter or YouTuber had ever contacted him over the past 2.5 years to confirm Andy's alibi, and he said no. I won't speculate as to what all this means. However, after talking to Andy's boss and confirming with him that Andrew Bernard was in fact at work all day, I feel that I can now trust Andrew Bernard and his family as we work together to get access to the mountains behind the end of Fields Road. I also don't know why Fred Hill is still maintaining his statement, but I do believe that he at least believes.
All right, so we actually have an issue here. Now, we know that Fred dabbles in the substances. Could Fred have been mistaken that day? I'm just throwing that out there. Could Don have, well, I mean, if Don was seen around, Andy's job and he wanted to borrow his car for whatever reason, we've seen cases where there are many vehicles involved. Look at the Michael Vaughn case. Many vehicles. We've often talked about why he took the Subaru that day. If Camp Kant had this medical emergency and just had to get Grandis to the ER, wouldn't she say, no, it's going to be easier for her to get in the Subaru? So Fred is saying he is positive he saw Andy, but Andy's boss is saying, no, if Andy was not here that day, either me or my son would have noticed. What do you think, Trev?
I don't trust anybody from there. I don't. I'll just be honest. I don't. Fred is a known user. He put a bullet in somebody's neck. He shot someone. There's people. Jody Sue has told 5,000 different things, and I don't want to hear I don't believe anybody. So when Andy says this and then Fred says that, it's hard to know who to take as fact because I don't really think you could take any of them as speaking facts. So it's hard to know what to think. Like I said, I wish law enforcement would come out with those things because that's what I would believe. If they would say, we have confirmed Andy was at work all day past the time that Summer was reported missing or up till that time, whatever, then I'd believe it. But I find a hard time trusting any of these people. And I get he went down and talked to the boss. And I'm not calling the boss a liar by any means. I just don't know who to trust out of that whole situation.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I wouldn't think, except for having an employee that lives on Ben Hill Road, he doesn't really have a dog in the game. You know what I mean? So why would he jeopardize his freedom because lying to an officer is a biggie That'll get you some time in jail, some big fines. If Andy went home for lunch, or Andy said, I have an emergency at home, or Andy said, I'll be right back, why would he cover that up? He said, either me or my son would have noticed.
Yeah.
That's what doesn't make sense to me.
Right. And I'm not saying that boss is a liar by any means. I don't know why he would lie. It's just there's so much unknown. It's just hard to jump when you jump. I have trouble jumping towards one statement because then something always comes to contradict it. And then there's another statement, something comes to contradict that. And so it's hard to know what is truth and what is not. It makes sense what that guy's saying, but then at the same time, unless Fred is involved, why would Fred say that he saw them and he could be mistaken? Or, the boss, hopefully he told police the right thing back then, but 2 years later, is he forgetting? I don't know. I don't know this boss guy. I don't know. I don't trust anybody on Ben Hill. I just don't know what to think.
No. There's got to be the truth in there somewhere. Too many inconsistencies, too many contradictions, like you said. It doesn't make any sense. Yorkshire Rose said to our friend Snow, you're another turncoat, don't lecture me. I don't think she's lecturing you. Who pooped in your eggnog? What is going on?
Oh, that's the same person who asked where I was on June 15th.
Yorkshire? So you're pissing off all my friends. Nobody in here lectures anyone. And if a moderator respectfully asks you to curtail a behavior, just do it. It is not the end of the world. It's to keep everyone comfortable so they can chat. Snow is a very good friend of mine. Trev is a very good friend of mine. Now you're in other chats. Did she ask that in here?
No, that was in Daisy's chat a ways back.
Oh, okay. Wow. Again, these are my friends, Yorkshire, so I hate to do this, but you can't sit with us. Bye-bye. All right, sorry about that mess. We don't do drama here, but this is ridiculous. And yes, Ziggy V is our friends here. She is our friend. All right, let's get back to the topic at hand. By the way, Trev, where were you on June 15th? Because I don't want that to turn into a mess, because Yorkshire is going to run to another chat and say, he won't answer where he was on June 15th.
Oh, I said where I was. I was at work that day.
Okay. There you go. There you go, Yorkshire.
I'd actually never been to Beach Creek or Rogersville until after someone went missing. I'd never even heard of Beach Creek, even though I lived one county over. Never heard of it.
You can only come back in if you apologize to Trev and to Snow. And you might as well go ahead and pay an apology to Pat K, because she's been really laying down the law around here.
5 years to confirm Andy's alibi, and he said no. I won't speculate as to what all this means. However, after talking to Andy's boss and confirming with him that Andrew Bernard was in fact at work all day, I feel that I can now trust Andrew Bernard and his family as we work together to get access to the mountains behind the end of Fields Road. I also don't know why Fred Hill is still maintaining his statement, but I do believe that he at least believes what he saw, and he believes it was on June 15th. I don't believe Fred is intentionally lying, but I am trying to judge whether or not I can trust Andrew and his family, and I'm willing to take the word of Brian Hayworth at face value on that. Fred continues to offer additional information to the specific location of the cave where Roy Cotton Simpson fell, so I may take one more trip up into Laurel Run Park to find that cave and prove that it exists and see what's there. I'll let you all discuss what this means, but for the time being, this is everything I know. When and if I learn more, I will let you all know. So thanks for listening. Hope you're all enjoying the holidays, and I will see you next time.
Okay. He could just be reading his notes. I have notes all the time. It looks like a serial killer's living room. Go ahead, Trev. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. And I was just going to say, and this is, just my personal opinion as a creator, I think it's also important, and not going after anyone, but we get certain information or have certain conversations as people who cover cases. I've gotten information, just nothing that would obviously solve a case or anything that hasn't been told to law enforcement, but certain things that would not be best in the public eye, whether it be, regarding whatever part of a case, that people that are closer to law enforcement maybe or close to people that know have told me. And it's things that I don't hide because I want to have secrets from everybody. It's because some things aren't good to have in the public eye. And I think it's important too to draw that line and to know that, okay, it's one thing to check in on that alibi, but then do you put out where he worked, the name of the person you talked to, and all of that? Personally, I wouldn't. I would say, I was able to, through a good source, confirm what I believe to confirm Andy's alibi, and I do believe I can trust him. That's how I would approach it. Again, that's just me, but I think it's important to protect information that we find in this case, because what matters is everything. When it comes down to the end, everything needs to be in line for things to work out.
No, and I agree with that. I wouldn't have put the name of the company or the boss's name out because, no, not everybody knows that. But the people that are following him, and I'm sure he didn't realize, didn't think about it, but this dude's going to get a lot of phone calls. We know that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to call him. I don't suggest anyone does call him.
And I'm not saying Ryan's encouraging that at all. I'm not saying he did a bad thing. I think it's great he's out there looking. I've had conversations with Ryan. I think he's a good guy. I just think it's important that we protect certain information.
Well, and, people's identity is one of them. It's like, I premiered a video the other day, and it's about the 9 kids that have been hidden. Kids, some are adults, in a house in Oklahoma City. It is horrible. By the way, on Tuesday, the woman that rescued the kids, Doris, with that, she is just amazing. I talked to her for a long time yesterday, and she's going to be on the show on Tuesday. So please be in, because Doris will knock your socks off. All right, let's get to some dreams. I received a message the other day that Day had a dream that Can't was reunited with Summer. I would call that a nightmare. If I had a dream that Summer was found and that she was returned to Can't, I probably wouldn't be able to sleep the rest of the night. Would a dream like that get y'all out of bed? But Don shared his dream with us as well. He actually spoke to the Rogersville Review before Summer's 6th birthday about a dream he had.
Do you have any idea what that meant, or do you?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. She had a smile. What?
You think it meant anything?
I have no idea. I'm willing to share it with everybody. Like I said,
I guess, but the reason I called you mainly was with her birthday coming up. So you all had a celebration in North Carolina in private, where I guess where she couldn't be harassed.
Yes, sir. And Robin's free to share that if she wants to. I mean, that's up to her because she's the one who done it all. I personally didn't go because I had to work, and I just was so afraid that there was going to be a bunch of YouTubers there or something. I don't know. I didn't want to go. It's my daughter's birthday, unless she ain't there, it was just kind of conflicted in my mind. So neither one of us went. But
I thought more of like if there might be like a prayer vigil or an observation schedule.
Yeah. I don't know what. I mean, to me, I would just rather celebrate it in church, personally, you know, if anywhere, in the church that she loves.
Kind of a
Yeah, going to North Carolina to celebrate with Robin never made any sense to me. So you're not harassed. Well, you're not having it at a local park. You're not having it by the gazebo. No one's going to harass you at church. He goes, I wanted to have it at church, but they went to North Carolina. Doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, seems that Jeff Bobo just skipped right over the dream with the Johnson grass and said, do you know what that means? And then got to the birthday celebration.
private thing. Family.
Okay. She said Robin won't share any of that information, but
Yeah, Kant's always the Kool-Aid man. There she's in the back. He's like, okay, babe. Yeah, Kant's in the back going, Robin's not going to share any of that. He's like, okay, babe. Yeah, Robin's not going to share any of that.
but I mean, but you're welcome to our, you know, Donmo's family YouTube channel, anything that's on there or whatever, you know, that's all out there for the public.
Oh, that's always been odd to me, having to have the birthday celebration in North Carolina. That would be a totally separate show. But, you know, dreams. Dreams, Again, if I had a dream that Summer was found, well, that would be a happy dream. But during my dream, if she was returned to Ben Hill Hell, that would disturb my sleep greatly. Common Sense 101 is working today. Merry Christmas to you, honey. Another common sense is our friend Holly, Common Sense True Crime. She posted this the other day. She said, this precious baby was an angel in a Christmas pageant, and her parents couldn't even run a brush through her hair. It's called neglect. Now, I mean, nobody's going to go sit at the pokey for a day or two. And because they didn't comb their child's hair, but I think we have other stuff. Hang on. When evil enters, this is going to be for you, Trev. Hang on. When evil entered, love your channel, by the way, said, wasn't Sean Williams in North Carolina? Trev is the expert on the Sean Williams case. You take that one, Trev.
Yes, Sean lived there, I believe, for a while and worked. He also was caught there at the college campus where he was found with all those narcotics and his money. That is where he was arrested before being brought back to Tennessee.
Do we believe in coincidence? ICU wants to know what part of North Carolina.
Kalawi. I forget how you say it, but that's where he was arrested. Near, I believe it's the WCU campus.
Okay. He's a bad, bad hombre. Do my eyes deceive me, or is today Ziggy V's birthday? Let's tell our friend Ziggy V happy birthday. Happy birthday, Ziggy V, and so glad that you are on the mend. It is also Mermaid. It's also Mermaid in a Wine Glass's birthday, but she's not in here. But in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group, I gave her a shout out for her birthday. So do you think, obviously it's just your opinion, there is any connection between Sean Williams and Summer Wells?
I have found nothing to point to that, but I would also not put it past him because there's an added layer with Sean because he was being protected by law enforcement. So he may have been glanced over as a suspect initially, if that makes sense.
Okay.
That's just my opinion, but.
Oh, no, I got you. Snow said, "Aw, mermaid, happy birthday." Oh, Helen's in the spirit. She said, "Only 3 more sleeps till Santa comes." Have you been a good girl this year, Helen? Are you going to get to sit on Santa's lap? All right, from this channel, Deception Detective, a lot of you have sent these videos to me, and I think this guy is spot on. It is his forte, by the way. So we're going to go through part of this. Oh, Helen. She said, no, she hasn't been a good girl this year. Well, I would see some of your comments in chat. Maury would say, that is true. Love you, Helen. So let's go through some of these contradictions and inconsistencies. Anywhere you want me to pause it or anything else you pick up, please let me know.
We found out since this has all happened, we got some real good neighbors and good folks everywhere. But
The most important thing is,
okay, I'm already cutting it off because they said we only hang around church people. We don't know anybody around here. But as it turns out, they do know Fred. They do know Laura. They do know Andy. They do know Jody Sue. Turns out we got some good neighbors around here. But before, you didn't know anybody. So already we have a mark. Thank you for the Crime Lines and Lies membership, Stacy.
is to bring Summer home safe. I'm sorry that you feel this way about us, but we love our children with everything we have. We've never went without.
One of the frustrating things about this video is that it looks like the interviewer has cut out their questions. So, for example, we can infer what was asked here, but we don't actually have it on record. So let's listen to what I think she was asked about people who doubt their story, or people who suspect them of killing or getting rid of their daughter.
Sorry that you feel this way about us, but we love our children with everything we have. We've never went without, thanks to Summer's daddy and my husband. He's always provided for us. And
you don't have a door on your bathroom. Does that rank up there as a good provider or someone that takes care of their habits first and the needs of the children second? You tell me. Holly, Common Sense True Crime, said he's saying all the players that were a part of this were good. Well, the DA says that the players in this have posed a problem. Let's listen to his own words. I clipped this from your channel, Holly.
This is a very complicated issue that has been made more complicated by the players in this drama.
Nope. It has been made more complicated by the players in this drama. So I'm going to go with what the DA says as opposed to any of the players.
has worked as much as he could and can and still is. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's...
It's interesting when she seems to be responding to critics that she brought this up on her own, that Dawn supports the family and has made sure they never go without. It might just be her parroting what he tells everyone whenever they complain about his treatment of them. For example, if he did abuse Summer and Candace jumped in and told him to stop or asked him to stop or criticized him for it, he would tell her, I provide for this family. You've never gone without. So how dare you question me or not let me enjoy myself? It's interesting that she brings that up unprompted, which is why I'm pointing it out.
Now, there's really not much that the detective says that we haven't picked up over here because, well, you guys are all valedictorians. Let me tell you, though, this has always bothered me, not just in this case, but other cases, when things are peppered in that were not asked. When details are thrown in, stupid details, things that don't make any sense. Like he said, she brings this up unprompted. Nobody asked her. Ansley didn't say, hey, does Dawn work pretty hard? Looks like you guys have it pretty good around here. No. That was never asked. She said it.
As he could and can and still is. And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that as long as I was around.
All right. So then she said nobody would ever treat Summer like that as long as I was around. How was Summer being treated? There's actually a lot to unpack here in this response. Let's back it up.
Okay. I'm really glad that he picked up on this and didn't skip over it. I think we have done an entire show about Candace letting that slip out in her whatever induced state. You can tell, even for Can't, she's not all there. Wouldn't happen if I was around. Well, then, where were you?
And let's listen again. Remember, she's bringing up all of this unprompted, as far as I can tell. It seems like the interviewer just asked her how she would respond to the people who doubt them or the people who suspect them of killing their daughter.
We've never went without.
And this is one of the benefits of what I do, deception detection, using statement analysis, context, empirical studies of how people react to extreme situations, because we can listen to what people say unprompted. So they actually reveal their thoughts to us. Whereas a polygraph test or a lie detector machine, you can only ask yes or no questions. So people aren't free to bring up whatever they want to bring up. And that's a huge pitfall of polygraphs, in that you're restricted. You have to bring up everything. And then the subject is just restricted to saying yes or no to everything. Whereas what we do is we listen to what they bring up on their own, because that tells us what's on their mind. What are they sensitive about? What are they trying to preemptively defend against? And then we can learn a lot more just by listening to their own words.
Well, thanks to some. Most important thing is to bring Summer home safe. I'm sorry that you feel this way about us, but we love our children with everything we have. We've never went without, thanks to Summer's daddy and my husband.
So they're saying they're responding to people who criticize their parenting. And Candace jumps to talking about how Dawn has made sure they never go without. And that's why I suspect this might be his defense to being a terrible father, to being an abusive father. Because this is her response to people potentially criticizing their parenting style. So,
or do you think she's trying to get ahead of what people quickly figured out, that Child Protective Services was involved? We don't ever go without. My husband works really hard. Do you think that the fear of God, loosely speaking, was in them about the CPS case? Tim and Robin said, Tim said it was closed on the 14th. They showed up, said nothing to see here, and, went away. I don't believe that. Robin said it was opened on the 14th. I don't know. Dawn told Clyda that they were coming on the 16th. And somehow in this conversation, she said they were going to do what's called a body map. Now, you get body maps at the dermatologist, but I think on children, they're not looking for unusual moles. So what is it besides contradictions and inconsistent statements?
if someone criticizes Dawn, the response everyone in the household knows is, I keep a roof over your head. You've never gone without, right? Have I ever let you go without? No. Okay, then quit complaining. Right? Quit your moaning. That's how I read this. Because she's not really defending herself. She's defending Don, which means she might have some guilty knowledge about Don.
My husband, he's always provided for us and has worked as much as he could and can and still is.
Right. So rather than saying what a loving father Don is, or how he's always looked out for the children's best interest, or how he took great care of Summer in raising her, educating her, those are not the defenses she gives for them being when they're accused of being bad parents. The defense she gives is that Don made sure they had a roof over their heads and they had food on the table. As far as parenting goes, that's the bare minimum. So what can we understand from this? They're accused of being bad parents.
I was muted. Sorry. They're accused of being neglectful parents. Not look at Can't on the screen. Not just by social media, people that can, they can see. But CPS was investigating them. And probably still is, because they have their 3 sons in their custody. Our friend Holly said Candace is voicing the reason she put Dawn above her children too. Yes. Because one thing we know about Can't is she comes first. Dawn's her bread and butter. Dawn is going to make sure she's got R&R, smokes, Mountain Dew, and a place to lay her ass every night. Okay? I like how Deception Detective brought this up. And he said, he mentions the bare minimum. Most of us are parents here, or remember being a child under a parent's roof. Since when is just, hey, you've got a roof over your head enough to raise a child? No. Doesn't work that way.
And her rebuttal to that is that Dawn at least made sure they had a roof over their heads. To me, that's indicative that they are terrible parents. And their only defense against being called bad parents is that at the very least, the children aren't out on the street. And actually, one of them might be now because Summer's missing.
And I'm sorry that you guys feel that way, but that's my baby, and nobody would ever treat her like that. As long.
All right, now she's saying nobody would ever treat her like that. So we can assume that she's talking about a hypothetical, right? Nobody would ever treat Summer.
Before he gets into that, because he's got a very good point, I want to say something before we go into what he has to say. She said nobody would treat her that way if I was around. Okay, let's say you weren't around. Let's say you went over to visit with Jody Sue. Let's say you took a trip to the Dollar General, told Grandis to watch her. Let's say you went down to Fred's to borrow a cup of sugar. Hell, I don't know. A walk, a run. And let's say she just wandered off. She went to play in the woods. Something caught her eye. What do you mean? Kids do go off to play. But she knows something happened. Nobody would treat her that way if I was around.
In a bad way, maybe abusively, corporal punishment, starving her, all the stuff that we saw in my Ruby Frankie video and earlier in this series, right? Stuff that we saw Don talking about on his own in Can Suspects Project Their Guilt? So Candace frames it as a hypothetical, right? So nobody would ever treat Summer that way. Nobody would ever treat her abusively or, neglectfully. But then she messes up, if I heard correctly. So she put in the hypothetical, nobody would ever treat Summer poorly.
As long as I was around.
And then she goes into past tense. Nobody would ever treat Summer poorly as long as I was around. That tells us that she's talking about events that actually happened in the past. If this were all hypothetical, we'd expect her to say, nobody would ever treat Summer that way if I were around. But that's not what she said. She started off hypothetically, and then she contradicted herself. She accidentally slipped into the past tense because she's talking about real events. And I think what she's saying is she knows Dawn abused Summer, but as long as Candace was around, she tried to put a stop to it, or at least minimize it as much as she could. That's what I think. And if you've seen my earlier video, I think that Candace shaved Summer's head in an attempt to actually reduce the chance of her getting abused by Dawn in order to make Summer a little bit less attractive.
Woo! He's throwing out what we've been thinking. Just Me said if is a big word. You got that right. And there was a lot of ifs in that sentence. A lot of ifs in that sentence. For her to say she would not be treated that way if I was around. Now, we caught Can't lying when she said, I'm a tomboy, she's a tomboy who wants long hair princesses and likes women like Robin, professional and dressed nice. She wanted her head shaved. Well, most people would tell their daughter, no. We saw the picture. The boys don't have shaved heads. Only Summer. And we're not talking about a shorter haircut. We're talking about shaved to the scalp.
As sick as all that is, right? To analyze this case, you have to go to a deep, dark place in your mind in order to get into their mindset. I also had some comments on my previous video about Summer's shaved head, where people said that actually the parents said Summer's head was shaved because of lice. But that's not what they said in the interview. In the first part of this interview, they said Summer wanted her head shaved because she was a tomboy. They didn't mention anything about lice. So if they retroactively tell some lie to explain the shaved head, you have to be smart enough not to fall for that, right? They're expecting people to naively fall for any little thing they say down the road to cover up a past lie. Because as we've seen, their story is already full of inconsistencies. We've only analyzed the first 5 minutes of this interview. I've already done 1 hour of catching inconsistencies, and I'm sure we're going to catch a lot more coming up. So as far as the lice thing goes, unless all the children had shaved heads, the lice is just another bad lie. These are not good liars. If you're falling for their lies,
I don't believe there was any lice. I'm not saying it's out of the realm of possibility. I've never had lice. My children have never had lice. But many people have said to me, if one child gets it, another one's going to get it. Hell, Andrew Hiltz on his channel treated lice on 2 of his daughters and then dyed their hair pink and blue. I bet their scalps felt good. I go back to the first thing he brought up, where he said, I think this was her attempt to make Summer less attractive. Any thoughts on that, Trev?
The hair thing's always been odd to me because you see pictures where the boy's hair is sort of grown back or longer, and then one of the boys is not. it's just odd to me. Like you said, if they had lice, they probably all would have had it. And there are definitely ways to treat it. Not that people don't shave their children's head for lice, but I would think they would all get it if one got it. But I don't know.
Well, I'm looking at the picture right now. No one has a shaved head except for Summer. No one. And Cant would have no issue. Lice is not something that's going to blow her hair back. She's going to say, yeah, she had lice. I had to shave it. She had too many nits in it. I had to shave it. That's it. The other kids would have had it. She's not exactly a good housekeeper. She doesn't wash pillows every day, pillowcases, put clean sheets on that soiled mattress. She doesn't do things like that. They all would have gotten it. So this is definitely a huge inconsistency of Cant's. She wanted a shaved head like me and the boys. Who in this picture has a shaved head? Just Summer.
You have to be a little bit more skeptical about what people are telling you. If Summer had lice and they shaved her head, why would they? A, they could just tell us they shaved her head because of lice. B, if they were lying about it, then, well, first of all, if they were telling the truth, all the boys would have had shaved heads as well. I'm looking at Candace right here. She has a full head of hair. Dawn had hair. This is 2 weeks after Summer went missing. Summer went missing with a shaved head. The lice thing is just another weak sauce lie.
Ever.
She loves to.
And all that is to say, I know I went off on a tangent there, that Candace is saying here that.
Hang on. Watch how she says that and watch the duper's delight. Watch her.
Is just another weak sauce lie.
Ever.
Look at that grin. That's the first time I've ever caught that. She goes, ever. And then she grins. Is it just me, or does that statement, along with the smile at the end, give you the creeps? Ever. And she smiles. Wow. Wow. Would you call that maybe a red flag, Trev? I mean, we're not behavioral scientists around here, but I couldn't imagine putting on that evil grin after saying the bombshell she said.
Yeah. Can you play it back where she going up to that point? Just like the last few seconds?
Mm-hmm.
Ever.
Hmm.
Let me see if I can get it better.
Fact that Summer was abused because she talked about it in the past tense. And she tells us that as long as she was in the room, she did her best to make sure it didn't happen. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. But what the takeaway is, she's talking about Summer being treated poorly in the past tense. And I believe her. I'd take her at her word. That's the other thing about what we're doing here as far as the statement analysis goes. We're not going into this saying, okay, we're going to get these parents. We're not even saying we're going to interpret their words to find the hidden meanings. We're literally listening to what they say, and I'm just pointing out what they say. That's all I'm doing. I'm listening very closely and pointing out the things they say.
She loves to dance. She would always want me. She says, "Daddy, hold my hand so I can twirl." And she would just like to twirl and twirl and twirl till my arm got tired, you know. And you know, I put out there that one of Summer's favorite songs was Godzilla, and they say, you know, and they're jumping all over me about past tense was, you know. Well, I'm sorry about that.
So here Don is saying that people are jumping all over him because he's talking about Summer in the past tense. And this is a popular thing, right? Everyone knows this. If a parent talks about their missing child in the past tense, it usually means that they know the kid is dead. And this is because of cases like Susan Smith, who drowned her kids. She talked about the kids in the past tense, right? She said that someone carjacked her.
Susan Smith, Letitia Stout, Adam Montgomery, Megan Boswell. I'm sure there's others. That's just off the top of my head. But some people say reading a little too much into that. I remember when the district attorney was addressing the court during the Gannon trial, and they were playing the Letitia interview. And she, said Gannon was always helpful. Gannon was. The DA had given an interview and said he saw it when he was at home on his TV. And he said instantly, the hair on his arm was standing up because she was using was. So I think we can put that to bed. When parents of missing children say was, the first time I heard Megan Boswell say it about Evelyn, she was the happiest baby. I was like, oh, girl. Besides her ever-changing stories.
With her kids in the backseat, the kids were missing. But whenever she spoke about the kids, she spoke about them in the past tense. And it was later revealed that she drowned her own children. So it's well known because how famous that case was. So people know, okay, if I do kill my kid or give my kid away or something happens to my kid and I want to cover it up, I really shouldn't talk about my kid in the past tense. But as I've pointed out here, these parents are low IQ. These are very bad liars. And that's also why there's so much material from them. Because they can't lie well, to me, it looks like, and based on the comments I've seen, they try to flood the internet with narratives, with stories, so that you can't tell where they screwed up and where they didn't because they've got 10 different explanations for everything. And this reminds me of trolls, like the video game cheaters I used to analyze in the past.
Okay, so the past tense got his attention. Trev can go on about this all day long. Isa Brown said Sheriff Cassidy locked her butt right up for lying to the police. If you have more than one story, let's say you give them 5 stories, that means 4 of them are a lie, possibly all 5. Just for that, Cant should have been locked up. Just for that. We haven't even gotten to the endangerment and neglect. And this, she's got like a 15-year-old mentality. 15-year-olds know the difference between the truth and a lie. Trev is unmuted now.
Yeah, and address that comment. Absolutely. Sheriff Cassidy went right after, put her away as soon as he was getting all these conflicting statements. Once he found something he could put her away on, he did. I think Sheriff Cassidy's the best sheriff in the entire state of Tennessee, and I wish that he would have been over Summers' case. I think it would have been handled better, but I don't know what law enforcement knows. But as far as that, yeah, if you give conflicting statements, if they can jump on something early, it seems to be what they do. It's like we talked about in Logan Bowman case, the one that where the remains were just found. Mom got put away for endangerment that ended up with a homicide charge.
Yep, even though it took 20 years for that homicide charge, it doesn't mean they weren't working the case. So I go back to some of the comments I get, and I totally understand where the comments are coming from when they're like, the only reason I have any smidgen of doubt is because they haven't been arrested. There haven't been any charges on them. And again, I wasn't there. They could have absolutely nothing to do with it. It is just my opinion that if those 3, Candace, Brandis, and Dawn, knew nothing, saw nothing, and are as confused as the rest of us, they would have a totally different demeanor about the entire tragedy.
Agreed. And just for reference and what you said, the mother and the other case was charged with homicide about 6 months into his disappearance.
Jeez.
He was still missing. It wasn't now. They haven't added any charges yet since the recovery of their remains, but they do expect more.
Our Liver King, where they were also bad liars. So what they would do is they would joke about the lie. Like, you think I take steroids? Yeah, I take steroids, and I have ab implants as well. To me, that's a sign of a bad liar. I knew Liver King was taking steroids based on his statements, and I called it long before his confession because he did the same sort of thing. He was a bad liar, so he would try to mask the lies under a bunch of different narratives and other lies and half-truths. And that seems to be what the Wells do. So when I see people commenting a million different things, you need to check out this phone call, that phone call, this interview they did where they said that, and this guy said this. All that is noise. It's all a distraction. We already have them dead to rights within 5 minutes. I've analyzed 6 minutes of this interview. I've already seen enough inconsistencies for me to know that they know something. They have guilty knowledge. And as I always say, this is my opinion. It's not my job to go prosecute them, but I'm putting my opinion out there, my expert opinion. Maybe someone will see it and pick it up. But already we're just listening to their exact words. I don't need to talk to anybody else or hear Don's later explanations of events. He's already screwed up here. I got him dead to rights already.
She also liked the song by New Breed. It was called House. My House.
The other thing about Dawn saying, we're speaking about our past tense, I'm sorry about that. It shows that he's aware of his words. So he's actually listening to what he's saying. He's not being fully candid with us. He's aware he spoke about her in the past tense. He knows that's a red flag. That's why he's mentioning it. Well, I did talk about her in the past tense. I'm sorry about that. Does that mean he's innocent? Because he's saying, well, I accidentally said past tense. Well,
it's because they've caught themselves in boo-boos. Why do you think it took 13 days for her to sit down in front of a camera? Why do you think she was smirking with her whole, that wouldn't happen to her if I was around. Ever happen to her if I was around. Kathy Marsh said, is there a point to this conversation? I just subscribed and don't know why. We're going through the inconsistencies with Dawn and Candace's statements and giving a shout out to Deception Detective. Trev, do you want to help with this? Is there a point to this conversation?
No, there's a point to any conversation regarding these cases. Discussing them is just how we keep their name out and point out what we see and share our opinions. But that's how we keep the conversation going regarding these missing people. I would implore anyone who disagrees to disagree kindly, and heck, open up your own channel if you'd like and give your opinions. Help get Summer's name out there as well.
I mean, you can grab the link and come up. We're all nice here. We're all friends here. I mean, thank you for subscribing. I have a feeling right after the show, you're going to unsubscribe and go back to the huge, huge investigation on the YouTube streets, which is called Quiltgate, with you and your friend Lisa Kay. But in the meantime, maybe you might learn something.
Well, there you go. No, it's actually a red flag that he's guilty and he's just a bad liar. And by being upfront about how bad of a liar is, he hopes that you will forgive him for it. I have lots of poker chips stacked up and I'm ready to go all in that they know something about their missing daughter. Just because someone's candid about how much they're screwing up doesn't mean they're not screwing up. It just means they're aware they're screwing up and they're too low IQ, too unsophisticated of a liar to correct it. These are not intelligent people. These are not criminal masterminds. They're literally people who contradict themselves every single sentence they said. And then later, when people point out those contradictions, they come up with another excuse and hope that you'll accept it. Well, Summer's head was shaved, but they said it was lice. Well, they didn't say it here. They only said it after I pointed it out, right? That's what the response should be. If we point out something here and then they come back with an excuse for it, recognize that's an excuse made after the event. Unless Summer's head was shaved and all of her brothers' heads were shaved the day she went missing, the lice thing is another weak lie. So these might be the sickest people we've analyzed on the channel, but they're also some of the worst liars we've seen on the channel.
Whoa. And that's his opinion. He is a detective or former detective, retired detective. I don't know his resume, but for him just to take this from their 13-day too late interview with WJHL and say, these might be the worst people. They are not criminal masterminds. It's not like they understand constitutional law. They just know from being career criminals, they know how to keep things tripped up. That's why we're served one lie after another, one deflection after another, one contradiction after another. And I appreciate his honesty. It's about time we have more of that. Instead of people skating around saying, well, I mean, I can see how Candace was a good mom because I see all the Facebook pictures. Have you seen Ruby Frank's Facebook pictures? Looks like a bank commercial. They look like the perfect family. Trev, I'll let you have it. I'm getting heated up.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. What happens behind closed doors is often presented differently to the public. Whether that applies to this case, how far it applies to this case, but like we saw in Ruby Frankie, and with really anybody, you take good pictures, you point out good things online, but nobody truly knows what's happening behind closed doors except for those there, and that's the scary part of any case.
Divine Justice says she thinks her head was shaved because that might be what attracted Dawn. That's never been brought up before. But I like how you're thinking outside the box. Go ahead, Trevor. I did not mean to cut you off.
No, that was it. That's what I was saying.
When Eva Leonard said that's why TBI said the case is beyond the norm. And I stand corrected on our friend, Deception Detective. He's an attorney trained in deception. Okay. Sorry about that.
They're right up there with Liver King in terms of bad liars.
She sung that a lot of times when I play it on the TV. She loved to dance.
She liked to think of herself as a princess and, and all that. Like y'all.
Did you catch that? Listen to Don here. I know people are saying I pause this video a lot. I'm pausing it because like literally every sentence they say is another contradiction. So listen to Don here.
Times when I play it on the TV. She loved to dance.
She liked to think of herself as a princess and,
She liked to think of herself as a princess. What was the first reason they gave for shaving Summer's head? If you saw my previous video, how important are inconsistencies, where we analyzed the first 4 minutes of this interview. What was the reason the parents gave initially for shaving Summer's head? They said she wanted her head shaved because she's a tomboy. Now we have Dawn telling us Summer liked to think of herself as a princess. So is she either a girly girl Disney princess, or is she a tomboy who wanted a shaved head? I don't know.
Cece said it looks like there are two Summers. What would be the reason for that? They also talk about Summer as if she's separate from the family. We have talked about that many times on this channel. It's like there's two Summers. We have the Summer that's a tomboy and her biggest downfall is being outside, then we have the Summer that likes to think of herself as a princess. Now, I don't think that Summer was that complicated. I do not. I think this is a trip and fall interview. We said this, now we have to correct it. We said that, now we have to correct it. Oh, by the way, our friend Hey Jude is in. Let's give her a round of applause for such a beautiful sketch of Summer. She did amazing. Talk about talent. Beautiful job, Hey Jude. That is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Anything you want to add to that, Trev? Why are there two different Summers in this interview?
Yeah, that's a great question. And why are there multiple explanations for different situations?
Again, it's a trip and fall interview. I tripped, I fall, I jump back up. Got to cover up the last stupid thing I said. Whether it be a lie, whether it makes sense, whether it makes no sense, we're going to get the hell out of here. We agreed to this interview. We know now we can't get away with it.
But I do know that they are lying to me right now because of the inconsistencies. So the big lesson for this video, if I'm trying to sum up what we've learned so far in the Summer Wells case, is you have to take people at their word. And if someone screws up, you need to recognize that. Whether they try to explain it away later or whether they even say, hey, I just screwed up there. That was weird that I said that. Well, that's not an excuse. You still screwed up. You still said something very bizarre. So whether or not they own it or make an excuse for it, that shouldn't factor in. They still screwed up. You should not forget that. I haven't forgotten all the inconsistencies they made in the first video. I haven't forgotten a single thing they said in the first video. And I remember they said she was a tomboy. That's why they shaved her head. They said she wanted it. And then later, Don said that Candace also had to shave her head so Summer wouldn't feel bad about it. So did she want it shaved or did she feel bad about it? And then they also said she wanted to shave because she's a tomboy. Now Don just said that Summer saw herself as a princess. So did she see herself as a princess with the long flowing Cinderella hair? Or was she a tomboy who wanted to have a shaved head like G.I. Jane?
It could be neither. You can't get the truth out of them. V. Oakley said, I was a princess and a tomboy and sporty and feminine. And a lot of girls are that way. Rough and tumble, playing outside, building forts, jumping out of swings, but then when it's time to, get pretty and clean up, you want your hair curled and stuff like that. But to take it to the extreme that she would want her hair shaved down to the scalp does not work with me. Never has, never will. And this is going to be one thing that I think we will never have an explanation for. Never. Never. Well, we're going to get back to the rest of that interview on the next show. Or the next, I shouldn't say interview. We've been through the interview a million times, but what he picked up in it. And we're going to send everybody off to their Christmas, but not so fast, because we have some other things to do before we shut down the show. This is our last show before Christmas. We have to do it in style. You know it. I know it. So first, let's get some words of wisdom from our friend Trev before we go into the weekend. Some people are going to celebrate tonight. Some are doing Festivus. some Christmas Eve, some Christmas Day, some all 4, and some are like, nah, I'm just going to enjoy the day off and find something to eat. So, Trev, anything you would like to say before our last show before Christmas?
No matter what you celebrate, how you feel about Christmas, just never take for granted the people you have. When I get to the holidays, it's a beautiful celebration, but I always look back on how I go to sit at the dinner table on Christmas and, I pull up an empty chair and, I'd give anything to race my dad to the Christmas tree one more time. So I just implore everyone to enjoy the people they have, appreciate them. If you're spending time with them, do it. If you can't, call them, talk to them, enjoy your people and appreciate them because it could be gone in a day.
Exactly. Just Me said, remember the reason for the season. Holidays are always tough because there's people that we remember, but that was a perfect way to say it, Trev. Think about what you have and who you have now. And there's JPL in the Christmas spirit. She said, can't wait for some NBA basketball tonight.
I'm there with you, JPL. I'm there with you.
Who's your team, Trev?
Oh, Dallas Mavericks. I'm from Dallas. Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Mavericks.
Mm-hmm. JPL, I need to find the picture. She has a big fox mask she wears to all the basketball games. She winds up on the news all the time for the local news where she lives. Common Sense True Crime, thank you for the super sticker. And to send us out with the Christmas spirit, I'm going to bring up our wonderful friend, Angel P., who is going to sing a Christmas song for us all. And I know that it's going to blow you away because she sings so good. And I think this song is going to get everyone in the Christmas spirit. Hello, Angel.
Well, hello there. The pressure is mounting.
You're going to get an honorary Grammy for this, I promise.
Well, I've got a little bit of 2 for you. The first one by special request for DT, okay?
Okay, DT Driver, are you listening?
He better be. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfect.
We ready?
Yep, I'm going to text his ass right now. Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. I'll have a blue Christmas without you. I'll be so blue just thinking about you. Decorations of red on a green Christmas tree won't be the same, dear, if you're not here with me. And when those blue snowflakes start falling, that's when those blue memories start falling. Well, you'll be doing all right with your Christmas white, but I'll have a blue Christmas.
Woo! I had to mute myself because I was clapping with you and singing along, and nobody wants to hear that. Amazing. When did you realize, now we know that you're a nurse and you've been a nurse for many, many years. When did you ever think about going into singing? I mean, you're in the right place.
Well, when I was in the 4th grade, my daddy wanted us to move to Nashville because I was messing around with a guitar. And my sweet little mama said, absolutely not. But I did sing in talent shows at school. Of course, I've sung karaoke. Sang on a radio station one time, won second place, like in 1984. And I used to sing at church.
Well,
But my
you've got
daughter is the one. My daughter is the one that has a degree in musical theater. She can out-sing me big time.
well, she came by it naturally. What's up next? Aaron Hicks said he can listen to you sing the
Oh,
phone.
really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got a little sniffle, so I'm trying. A for effort. Here we go. Oh, little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie upon thy deep and dreamless sleep. The silent stars go by, yet in the dark street shine the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years all met in thee tonight.
Fabulous. You need to go back through and see all the compliments and comments you have. Walking Dead wants a CD. Yes.
Y'all are crazy.
Job.
Well, thank you, Trev. I used to record CDs for my daddy. He'd take them to work and play them for people. Yeah. But I'm sure there's many talented people that can sing in our chat.
Oh, there could be. I mean, if anybody wants to grab the link, Christina wants to know if you can sing Amazing Grace.
I sure can, baby.
Okay.
Let me try. Here we go. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I am found. Was blind, but now I see. There you go.
And that did it. Now the waterworks are going. Absolutely gorgeous. Everybody, she's going to go back. I want her to see all of these fabulous comments because she is such a talented, wonderful person, and her voice is the cherry on the top of the cake. She is such an amazingly talented person. Dana said, and a hush falls over the room. I know she has an incredible voice.
Thank you very much.
Says, can we have a singing one Sunday? We could do a members live. I put a link up and people can come up and sing. We can do carolers on Sunday if you want. We could do that. You guys just tell me what time and I'll make it work. Let's have a round of applause for our very, very wonderful friend, Angel. Well, to send everybody on their way for Christmas, I obviously cannot top Angel's beautiful voice and the wonderful songs she just sang for us. I know, I'm tearing up too. Anything that you want to say, Angel, before we start shutting it down?
Well, sure. I was very scared, by the way. I want to say that, it's been a really tough few years for a lot of people. And it's very easy to get depressed and get down, myself included, during the holiday season. But please remember that Jesus is the reason for the season. If not for the Lord, I would not be where I am today and who I am today. And any single little thing that I can do for the good to help, or that you describe as a talent, I say to God be the glory, because he has gave me the strength, the courage, the wisdom
Amen.
to get where I need to go and do what I need to do. And I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. And I really do love you guys. I don't just say that in chat. I really do care about you guys. And I consider you guys my family and a great support system to me. I'm very busy with 3 grandkids, but I try to be here as much as I can, because Brooks has created a wonderful community for us all to come in and talk and get to know each other, love each other, support each other, lift each other up. And Trev, he's just a wonderful man. God has great plans in store for Trev. I firmly believe that.
Thank you.
And I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Christmas. Feel the love, share the love, check on your elderly neighbors, make sure they're not home alone, take them a plate. Just go over and shake their hand or give them a hug. It's a season to give love, because the love that was given to us. And I hope we all. Yes, ma'am.
That was beautiful, Angel. I'm going to be a mess all day now. But a good mess.
Well, you're a beautiful person, and people that talk in a negative light about you, they really don't know you very well. And we all know that. Those of us that are here every day, we all know that. We all feel that. We all sense that. I love your sense of humor. I love Trev's dedication and drive to be the best that he can be. And I love every one of you guys. And I wish you the very best. And if I don't see you or talk to you again, have a Merry Christmas. And I'll be thinking about you guys.
Merry Christmas to you, my friend. You are an amazing, amazing person. Thank you for coming up and doing that. I know it's a little out of your comfort zone. And, you know, I can't say that I built the community, because my mama always said, Brooks, honey, now listen, you're an acquired taste. So I think it's
yes.
Trev, if you could, would you say a prayer?
Absolutely. Dear Lord, as we approach this Christmas holiday and New Year ahead, please reset us, reset our hearts, and reset our souls. We get off on different paths throughout the year, through trials and tribulations, through good times and bad, and we fall off the track. But please use this as a time to bring us back into what matters. I believe that's a huge reason why Christmas is what it is, Lord, because it's the day that your son was born, and it's the day that we can all come in together for one reason and reset our hearts on what matters. And I pray that everyone can come together this holiday season knowing that we are what we are because of you, Lord. And I pray that everybody who comes in this holiday season with hurt or pain can be comforted by your peace. I pray that no one feels alone during the holiday season, and that those grieving a loss know that their family members sit beside you at your throne and are looking down. And I pray that all of us can remember why we're here, Lord. We can think of the presence of people and not the presents that we get. And I pray that everyone has a safe and blessed holiday season. We can stay warm, have a fantastic time, and treat each other better as we go into the next year, Lord. So I thank you for all that. It's all in your name we pray, Lord. Amen.
Amen. That was a beautiful prayer. Amen. Coco Pop said, I'm crying like a total loon. Well, that's what friends do, you know, and, you know, throughout the year, you know, every case, any case that we cover on here, we laugh, we cry, we get mad, we have misunderstandings. But at the end of every show, every year, we're still friends. So I want to wish you all a fabulous Festivus, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, however you celebrate it, whether you go to the casino, you play coin pusher, you watch all the Home Alone movies, or you have everybody and their dog coming to your house. I wish you the most fabulous holiday. 'Tis the season, and we know the reason. You guys are the absolute best chat and community on these YouTube streets. You're not going to convince me otherwise. You have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. And I'll see you back here maybe on Sunday. If not, for sure, we'll be seeing you back here on Tuesday morning. It's a very important show. So please enjoy, enjoy, enjoy.